9th edition of the Legalcommunity Week that takes place from the 9th until the 13th of June. This global event, hosted by LSE Publishing Group, gathers the international legal community in one place. Beyond the conferences and roundtables, there were leisure events dedicated to networking, such as cocktails receptions, an award night, and a live music contest, and also a running event across the streets of the Milan city center. Now let's go hear what our guests think about the event.
How will you say arbitration is changing nowadays also with the use of AI?
Yes, I think arbitration and the practice of law really is changing dramatically. I mean, everything that we do, the machine is there already assisting us in absolutely every single step all throughout the proceeding, and it will continue to do that, and more and more and more powerful. This changes by the week. So we are expecting 90% of what we do in the following 2 years to be done with assisted by AI, and beyond that really is a wild guess, but I see really interesting things coming up.
You've been involved in the management of different companies related to the defense sector. So do you think that now it's a good time to invest in defense?
Yes, I think it's a great time to invest in defense. I think that, as I was mentioning in the panel, we have underinvested during the past 25 years in the defense industry in Europe. I think mentality of the people, the society in general has changed, and is willing to support investment in defense, which is not only investing more wisely in defense, which is we need to be more efficient in Europe in how we invest in defense, and for that we need to have a unified defense industry with unified platforms, and for that we need a lot of understanding between the countries in which are the requirements for defense in Europe, the companies, the prime companies, on how they can cooperate together and how they can support the supply chain. And also we need long-term commitments, because you cannot invest in defense only in the short term. When you invest in a program in defense, you invest for more than 100 years in programs, and therefore you need to invest not only in the development of the program, in the supply of the program, but also on the life cycle of the program, which means the maintenance of the equipment.
What are the major challenges for the in-house?
Transformation is the key word for the legal departments and the main challenge for the next future. Simplification, digitalization, and artificial intelligence is what we are doing now in order to become an in-house legal department for the future.
So which will you say it's the biggest soft skills that in-house lawyers should have at this time of the year?
We need agility, creativity, and also proactivity. We need to evolve from a legal mindset to a more business and technology mindset.
What trends do you see in the international M&A landscape?
Definitely geopolitical instability and the tariffs, okay? Those are imposing on us the need to have a broader view on the main targets, on which countries we definitely want to invest, depending on your growth strategy. If it relies on an M&A transactions, as it is our case, and you need to implement a broader due diligence on the target, starting by commercial and operational, which is crucial for them to then address all the others, the financial, the tax, the legal, and also the compliance-related due diligence, because reputation now becomes also a trend in this M&A. And then once you take the decision, and once all these aspects has been cleared, you need to pay attention on the way you structure the contract, the transaction documents, because you need to, especially on the structure of the price, the way you assess, the way you pay, you may work around earnouts, or you may work around downside mechanisms, trying to get the safeguards that you believe are crucial whenever you deal with so much instability.
What has happened in the past year in the legal privilege context?
So in the last privilege, I will say that there are three developments that are important, particularly for Spanish lawyers. The first one is in November, there was the approval of the new Ley Orgánica of the right of defense. And this law is providing that it's applicable to also lawyers that are subject to an employment relationship. So that's very, very important for us in Spain. And then there are two developments that are important in the context first of the European Union. It's a judgment of the Court of Justice of the European Union from September 2024. This is important because it's providing that it will cover legal advice provided in any legal field, and that this will also protect the specific content of the legal communications. That's very important, that it is not possible to provide limitations to have access to the content. And the third development is in the context of the Council of Europe. There is a new convention. This is the first legal binding instrument at an international level, and it applies to lawyers in accordance with the definition that is provided in the respective national laws. So, for example, for lawyers in Spain and for lawyers in Portugal, it will fully cover the in-house lawyers because we are part of the bar in those two jurisdictions. So, really three important developments that all in-house lawyers in Spain and Portugal should be aware.
How is digital transformation shaping legal strategies?
Well, digital it's a mandatory topic. It's a basic topic. All the companies are investing in digital transformation around contract management, around compliance, around digital signature, around at the end everything that covers us in the legal sector. So it's mandatory. It is not on the way, it's just started, and we have to follow up.
How will you say women are linked to all the mediation processes nowadays?
I think they are pretty much linked, and they should be even more linked. There are different studies from the United Nations that shows that when women are participating in mediation process from a peace perspective, then the agreements that are reached are even, keeping longer than any others. So I think it's a big opportunity for the world. We are living in a very polarized world to impulse and to use mediation in order to solve all the commercial also conflicts, and at the same time for us as women to take a step forward and lead the change.
Which will you say is the biggest challenge that in-house lawyers are facing now, and especially in a department as yours in the energy sector?
I think the message to deliver is always the same, to be reiterated year by year, that to deliver the best with less. More with less is always, I think, the key message from an in-house legal department to its stakeholders.
How can legal leaders foster a healthier work culture?
I would say that we have two paths to go. The first one is through listening. If you're managing a team, your first mission is to listen to them, to listen to the difficulties, to their obstacles that they are facing, not only on a professional level, but also on a personal level. We may think that it's a topic that you don't want to enter to, but if you don't know their personal struggles, you won't be able to help them, to tell them what to do, to tell them that the company is there for them. So you do have to listen to people. That's the first one. And the second one is you have to be aware of the differences. Well, speaking from my perspective, I manage a multicultural team from Europe to Asia and with projects in Africa. So the same message cannot be addressed to different people in the same way. So you have to be aware of the different cultures, of the different ways how people perceive authority, how people perceive hierarchy, how people perceive communication, how people perceive informality. Some cultures appreciate it, and for some it can be perceived as something rude. So cultural awareness and listening.
Which will you say is the biggest challenge that in-house lawyers are facing now?
Well, I think there are many challenges they are facing. One is the pure geographical and geopolitical tsunami that is currently happening, taking into consideration tariffs, democracy, many challenges that are changing the powers and the economic powers and the war and the economic war that is ongoing. And of course, digital AI that we've been talking about for a long time now. And third, I would say, is also still about climate change and how do we adapt to it? How is it part of our own business? And what kind of risk into litigation this is going to bring, as we do think that there will be systemic litigation that might arise from it. So there are many challenges that we are facing. And of course, that means that the talent need to change, need to be trained differently, need to adapt, and there are lacks of talent in certain countries and overall talents in others. So there is a big need for unification in Europe in order to struggle all that.
So which will you say are the priorities of the legal departments nowadays?
So I suggest that it is the cost effectiveness, and in the light of the developing technologies, we have to be a major distinction cost effective. We have to balance it with the new opportunities in the legal market, also regarding the AI as it is employed now. And we also have to balance it with the correct data protection and the risk assessment in front of these technologies.
What are the main 3 soft skills that a legal leader must have these days?
Well, the first one, if you ask me, it would be regarding communication. Be an active listener. That's really important. You need to be able to listen to your peers and to your team and to the market and to the clients. So you really need to be a good listener. The second one, I would say emotional intelligence. You need to control your own emotions and you need to dominate the room. You need to feel the emotions in the room of your colleagues, again, of your peers, in a negotiation, in whatever it is, and also be aware of that and adjust your communication to that. And the third one, I would say something we don't talk every day, but it's charisma. I do believe that a good legal leader must have great charisma, like be trusty and know how to engage the team, and I would say these 3, yeah.